it's behind my camera in my, on my big screen. So hello, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and get started. And Erin, if you would please, if you wouldn't mind, kind of looking at the chat box, if Rebecca has questions, and I'm happy to stop. Rebecca, you can just unmute your microphone if you need to do that. This session is digital icebreakers and gadgets to engage students, and or if you are doing this for professional development. I just have some tips and tricks for everybody. And I always have to tell people that this is going to be recorded, and I tell them that. And usually this is actually one of my little tricks that I get people to do. A lot of times I will put up a picture, something fun like that, to start my sessions off, and just allow people to think about what that might be and to create a caption for that photo. And so if you would, Rebecca, if you can think while we're getting started here, and Erin, go ahead and write a caption for this photo. I do this with my students as well. And it just really breaks the ice for them. It kind of draws them into what I'm going to be doing. A lot of times I will do this around a particular theme. And so if I'm talking about, let's say, owls, I might have lots of pictures of owls or different birds. So I just do this. I think that when you start with something that makes somebody smile, I think that's very helpful, because then people aren't on their phones, and people aren't, trying to manage emails, and kids are engaged from the first part. So just a little trick that I do, no amount of caffeine that will make it through the day. I'm with you. I'm with you on that. So that's another little thing that I will do. And oftentimes I will also just throw up a chat, or like a question. So for example, in the mornings, generally, or when I do my professional developments, I will say, so what are you drinking today? Because usually everybody on a virtual call has something in front of them that they are drinking. So I'll say, what are you drinking today? And what is your favorite thing? Put it in the chat box. And sometimes you will get some interesting things. A lot of times you will get people that are wanting to, have a little fun. So they might put something kind of interesting in there. So let me go ahead and do this. I always kind of skip this part, but I'm going to go ahead and do it today because I do not know Rebecca. My name is Leslie Charles, and I am the digital integration coordinator here at Muskegon Valley ESC. And let me put myself in the screen so you can see who's talking to you. I have actually been here at Muskegon Valley ESC since 2002, which makes me feel like I've been here forever. And I have my permanent teaching certification in kindergarten through 8th grade, that tells you how long that I've been in education. They don't even give permanent teaching certificates anymore. And they also have broken that up. So I can teach anything from kindergarten. Rebecca's there too. So, I feel like, I still feel like I'm young and I've been doing this, but inside I feel like, there's some things that hopefully that I can help people with. And I said this too, I was a digital integration coordinator here at Muskegon Valley before there was ever a thing of COVID, before it was ever anything. And people thought of me and what I did as an extra. And I feel like it was kind of set aside. Nobody really thought they were going to ever have to use it. And so when COVID hit and everybody had to go digital, I feel like people were trying to find answers for things and trying to find what worked. And a lot of us that had been doing it for a while had kind of figured some of these things out. And I feel like one of these things is keeping my audience engaged and keeping my kids with me. And so one of the things that I like, and it's not that I'm trying to brag about this, but I have done either student connections or teacher connections, professional development. in 39 states around the country. And I've also done that consistently in Canada, Mexico, not consistently in Mexico, but I've also done Mexico students and teachers, and also in Australia, which was kind of interesting because it was a completely different time zone, and it was quite of a challenge to get that to work. But one thing that I have figured out in all of those things that I have done is that you have to figure out some way to grab the attention of the people that you're connected with. And there are a few things. We can use every bell and whistle in the world, but it comes down to connecting with them on a personal level. And so there are some things that I have given you today that are oldies, but there doesn't mean that they can't be used. And then the other thing is that you have to put yourself out there, and you have to figure out a way for you to connect personally with the audience. And I have some little tips and tricks that I'll give you. One of the things that I consistently do is I try to catch names. And I am not a great rememberer of who people are, but I do catch names and I remember names. And just because you don't remember their face with their name doesn't mean that when you say their name, it doesn't make them feel like they're special and they're part of your presentation. So when I do student connections, or when I do adult connections, I always try to catch names. And you'll always see me sitting here and I'll be jotting stuff down. It's I always have scrap paper here, and I'm always jotting things down because I try to catch people's names, because oftentimes I have 15 classrooms with me at the same time. So I'll jot down names, and then I'll randomly just say, okay, Billy, what do you think about that? And then Billy has to, unmute his mic. And for that moment, he's felt that he is super special. So that's how you kind of draw them in. I do that all of the time and I don't do it. It's harder, I'll be honest with you, with adults, because I feel like adults feel like you're calling them out. It's not my intention. It's my intention to make that connection with you personally. So those are just a few of the things that I always try to do, is catch names. So just one of those things. So I'm going to take myself out. Rebecca, I don't know that if you've been at any of our other sessions that we've done, whether you've watched the recorded ones or not. I'm going to show you a couple of things if you don't already know that. In the chat box, I went ahead and put the Google form link in there so that you can get your contact hours. And also I have my email there as well. And then the Google Classroom code is on there on that screen as well, if you want to jot those things down. That way you can use those for later. So I'll give you just a second to do that. Now, I will tell you that I'm pretty blessed at this ESC. I have a lot of bells and whistles in the studio. We have always delivered virtual field trips to teachers and to students. And I have a pretty cool setup. And I have Zoom in here, and I have document cameras, and I have several screens so that I can see what I'm doing and what the students are seeing and what the adults are seeing. So I am pretty blessed, but the technology that I use to make those connections are things that you guys have, and you don't need all this special stuff to do. So I'm going to focus on those things today. So here's just kind of the why for me. In a remote world, getting to know your students is personally, is difficult. And one of the things that the consistent message that I heard when teachers went remote was that they were unable to find the personality of their class. They couldn't get a good read on, who were the funny kids, who were the shy kids. They couldn't get that read on the students. And I get that and I understand that. I think there are really good ways to do that. And like I said at the beginning, you gotta grab names, you need to call on students by name and even the adults as well. And I personally always use some sort of a hook or an icebreaker every single time that I connect with kids. Now, it could be as simple as like my kids this morning, I played music for them. We were doing a lesson on American Sign Language. It was actually an social emotional learning lesson, but it was with sign language. And I talk to my students all the time about, when you're moving, you're learning. And so I just played music and I played, I don't know if you're familiar with the Madagascar movies with the line, but I played Move It. And the kids at the beginning are already into my lesson. I have captured them within a few minutes because I played Move It. They were moving. And I always say, when you're moving, that it doesn't matter if you're in a virtual classroom or if you're in an in-person classroom, you are moving and you're interacting, which means you're learning. And so simple things like just adding music really help with that. Again, asking questions, how do you people put things in the chat box? So those are all kind of the why things. Now, I know that a lot of people use these. I believe I was sitting with Erin when she did hers. I think she had llamas on hers. And it was funny because I had used gorillas in mine. And so this is, a typical thing that I would have for adults when I'm doing a PD is I'll put, how are you feeling today? And I'll put a slide like this up. And are you calm? Are you confident, panicked, happy, irritated, or angry? Here, I'll show you angry behind me. And I do this. And so if my kids, if I have kindergarten, I might have them just use their fingers to tell me and show me because again, they're moving. If they're using the chat box and they're independent connections to me, I have them put it in the chat box like you guys just did with me. But this brings on one more kind of personalization, because when you put something that is lighthearted, I think you get to where they are. You got to get to them personally, and and so Rebecca said she was tired. I kind of am there today too. I'm pretty tired myself. But then really right off the start, is somebody angry, somebody irritated. So I think this is a great way. And Erin, I didn't mean to copy you, but I also had that on mine. But I'm glad that you also do that. The other thing that I typically do is that I do these short little videos, or I will do short little questions that will bring up some sort of a fact that is kind of weird, something that's unexpected. Sometimes I do this with my adults as well. So I will say, like, so I'll show you on my screen in just a second, but this is something else I do. I do have a document camera connected here. And typically, if we're going to be talking about something and I had shown, let's see, let's go back. And I had shown this picture of these gorillas, I might pull up and just breaking it up as simple as going to your document camera and like writing a question like, this, and I'll write it on my screen. What are baby gorillas called? Okay, and then I'll put that on there just to break things up, because you're not going to always want to see just a computer screen. And this is just a simple document camera. You can do this, hook this up, they're just USB, but breaking it up and then asking them to call on them. And maybe this is a fact that they don't know. Maybe no one in your class knows this at all. And you've just opened up a great opportunity for them to give them some research. So, okay, I'm going to give somebody, a bonus point when they find out what the gorillas, baby gorillas are called, and give them an opportunity, a few minutes to do some research and to find out the answers to those, because we know that having that ability to find information is a skill that they need as well. So these are all things that help draw that person or that audience into your session. You can link them all into one particular theme. Now, when I went to this weird but true stories, I have this in my resources that I'll give you. And unfortunately, my QR code wasn't working. And thank you, Erin, for catching that. It's I went from one computer to another, so I'm not sure if maybe I copied the wrong link or what, but I will definitely get that to you guys. But this National Geographic Kids has a whole page on weird but true stories. And these weird but true stories are very short, but they will capture their attention very quickly. And they're on a number of different topics. You're not wasting a lot of instructional time, but you're really grabbing them because they're usually 1 to 2, maximum 3 minutes. So by doing this, you're bringing in a fact, a random fact that I will tell you, it doesn't matter if they're kindergarten or if they're 12th grade, they will remember when they go home. My daughter comes in who is in 6th grade with that is a tough 6th, 7th, and 8th. That's a tough audience if if you've taught those ages. And she will come home and tell me a random fact that they have talked about or they have researched. I know she will remember that. So I always tell them, when you're in jeopardy, when you get older and you get to the final round and you're going to win $1 million and they ask the question, do frogs have teeth? You will know the answer. So these weird but true shorts are super awesome. So let me share with you what the website looks like and just how much of it there is. So I link these two. So staying with my whole gorilla theme, there is a bunch of information on monkeys and on gorillas. And I found this one. Now tell me what kid is not going to remember this part. Now, every kid in your class is going to remember that white-faced capuchin monkeys say hello by sticking their fingers up the other one's nose. Now, they're not all this, but there are many things, and you can go to this web page, and there are all these funny, weird, but true shorts that are anywhere from 45 seconds, 30 seconds, all kinds of continue to play. But you can find all kinds of just quick little videos that you can share that they're going to remember, and they're true. So you've captured your audience. Now tell me, will you remember when you go home about that? Yes, you're going to remember. So this is a great way. I do a lot of this, even like just randomly in the middle. There's stuff about the Eiffel Tower on here. There's stuff about famous people. So just a quick little way to engage your audience and really pull them into what it is that you're wanting them to see. So these National Geographic Kids, I have that on my resources that I will definitely share with you as well. The other thing that I do with both my adults and my kids, and this is one of their favorites, we play the Family Feud. You can quickly take a game and make it into something that gets them. You can bring in, and you only have to do one round. You're only taking 30, 40, 50 seconds of your instructional time. But if you build it into what you're trying to teach, you've really even got them even more. And I have given you in the resources, I gave you my template of Family Feud, which has all the music and all the rounds and everything embedded. So feel free to use that in any way you want. I will give that to you again. But there's also game templates on Slides Mania as well. So let me show you a couple of things. So first of all, I'm going to go to, let me go to my template, and I'll show you what mine looks like. And it's really simple to modify, but it's got a huge high impact. So this is what mine looks like. So this is part of my Dr. Seuss lesson that I do. And talk about getting the kids jazzed. Let them hear this. And you can change, like the Dr. Seuss edition, you can change and modify all of this stuff really easily. And then I'll throw up something, like there's multiple rounds. I'm gonna show you, because I'm gonna go to round number 3. Okay, so round number 3, this would be one that I might use at the beginning or like to break things up. But here, let me show you what it looks like. So you go to show the question, and it's talk about name a Dr. Seuss book that's been made into a full-length movie. And then you hide the question, and then you have already predetermined what these answers are. So then I would say, okay, you know, Aaron, do you know one? Rebecca put Cat in the Hat. Yep. And I don't have I usually have my answers printed out. I didn't print my answers out, but I would have Cat in the Hat. I can't remember which one, but they answer and they come off. And then they get excited. But then you also have the opportunity to give them the strikes too. So they have to get that before they get their 3 strikes. You can also take this and have them kind of do a little bit of math with it. So you could have them add up the points as well. This one does not keep the points. I think some of the other templates do, but this one really mirrors the real game because it has the music and all that other stuff with it. So I did give you guys this. There's this one has 3 rounds that you can take and modify. And I'll show you really quickly, like when you go to modify it, all you have to do is just, these are all text boxes in here. And so let's say I wanted to change this, you just click on it and change it to whatever. And so you can change that. And then you go over here because it looks pretty like intimidating, and you change your question over here. You just, but whoever created them, I can't even tell you, I got this, I've used this for a long time. There's somebody that actually did all kinds of work with this one. It was a free template that I was able to download many years ago. I don't even know where I got it, but if I got it from somebody, I'm going to give it to you guys. So it is a great way, whether it's adults or whether it is kids, your audience are kids, perfect way to really get them into that. So this is one that I would typically use. I'm going to go ahead and the other thing that I use a lot is, let me find my website. So if you go to Slides Mania also has all kinds of templates as well. They don't have that exact that PowerPoint that I shared, but they have some really good ones. One that I really like that I haven't used yet because I haven't found the right audience is this Can You Guess the Character? Because when you download this one, you can change all of these characters, and that's a good skill. This whole kind of backwards thinking one. So I was glad to see that they included that one. And you can download that in Google Slides or as a PowerPoint. So this Can You Guess the Character is a really good one from Slides Mania. And then there's also like the Spin the Wheel and then game board ones as well. So I would say that this is a great site. There's also other good sites that have these downloads, but this one seems to have the best games for students. And like I said, if you're going to change that and use that for an adult. I will often use Tic Tac Toe as well. So this is a way you can kind of break your audience up into boys and girls or whatever it might be. Slides Mania has a version of this. Trivia Maker has a version, which I'm going to show you in just a second. I will show you, I gave you this version as well in my resources. This is one that I use often. Again, it is a PowerPoint. And this is a fun one because I've had this for years. Honestly, it was 2000, the copyright is 2000. So that tells you how long I've been using this, but it is still good today. So what I'll do is I'll throw in some review words. So if I'm going to review or hook my kids into the lesson that I gave them yesterday, it's a quick way to do it. You can play tic-tac-toe pretty quickly in your classroom. You're reviewing and you're getting them on board. You're breaking the ice. And so with this one, I'll show you what it looks like. And they like the characters. Now I would obviously use this more for my younger kiddos. And I happen to use this with a lesson on butterflies that I teach. And so I get them all into it and tell them, we have, a few friends here to help us out. And then we talk about, Dewey Cheatham's in square number 1. Anita Hug and Kiss is in square number 2. And then you go through and you make this really exciting. They get super excited about all the characters that are helping us out. So it's like the old Hollywood squares, if you remember that. And then their questions are behind here. So they would say, okay, I want to try number 5. You click on number 5, it gives you the question, sign male, bring both index fingers together in front of you pointing towards. So they would have to, for this one was made up for a sign language class that one of my teachers were teaching. And so this was a review. So they had to sign male or whatever. And if they get it, they go back and then they put, an X or an O in there. And so when whoever wins, it gives them the congratulations. Now this one doesn't have any sounds in it, but it's a quick, easy way to break that ice, have them review the content from the day before. So another one you can modify quickly, and I will give you that as well. So that is one way. I also have a site that I sometimes use. There is a free version of this. I don't usually like to get ones that are a paid version. This is a pretty good one. Trivia Maker, I don't know if you're familiar with this, but there's all kinds of different game templates that you can choose from. And they're simple things that you create, you get them into your account. They're easy to modify. The yearly subscription to this isn't very much. I think it's like $19 a month, maybe, if you do like a teacher version. But what happens when you create these, they come in your dashboard. And again, they're really quick ways to break the ice. So for example, if I go to this one and I start it, maybe, there it goes. You fill in your questions. It's similar to the Hollywood squares, and then you play this. This one actually has buzzers that your kids could use their cell phones as, and it comes up and it has some music around this. And then so like if you went to round number 1, you click on it, characters and Peter Pan. So there's 4 answers to Peter Pan. Aaron, do you know one that is a character in Peter Pan? I don't know what made the list. But anyway, you can see how you can put funny things in there. And then again, it's annoying. But anyways, you can give your audience a way to just kind of, break the ice, again, getting them into it. And you can do pop culture, you can put in just random things. But this Trivia Maker is a pretty good site for the money that it is. And there's lots of different games that you can do. Again, depending on the version that you can get them where they can put a code into their cell phones, and then they can use them for, as buzzers, all that good stuff. So that is Trivia Maker. Okay, another one. This one is a free one. There is a free, there is a paid. I will tell you, I am on a budget here at the ESC, so I always use the free, and I bet you a lot of people can relate to that. Wordwall is not something that has lots of, bells and whistles, but it does the trick. So I'll show you what it looks like. Wordwall, the free version, allows you up to 5 different games, okay? Now, the 5 different games, you can have these 5 different, and let's say you wanted to change one for a lesson, then you just modify one of the ones that you use, because that way you don't have to purchase the full-blown program, which again isn't very expensive, but if you're on a budget, why not, try to save as much money. So for example, like this one, you can take, I did one for this particular lesson. It's called Icebreakers, and you spin the wheel, and you could do just a couple of rounds of this to break that ice. So which do you prefer, cake or pie? And you can put in your choices there. And once you do it, let's say you eliminate that and that comes off, okay? So you can go through and do this pretty easily. Now, what's really cool with this one is that, let's say we're on the random wheel now, but if you wanted to switch the template, it will automatically switch the template into a different game. So this one is random wheel, but if I wanted to take those same things and I wanted to make them random cards, it went ahead and took all of the things that I had in there and it put them into cards. So now I can use the same type of thing, but I say deal and it brings up a different version. So you can have random cards. There's all kinds of different templates that you could do, flip the tiles. So all kinds of different things. So it's just one site. It will, and it's very easy. Just hit create activity. But like I said, the limiting feature for the free version is that you only get 5. And so you would, if you go over your 5, you just have to modify one of those 5. The other, this is showing you is just they're just individual plans for that. The basic one is free, and then the pro version is $9 a month, so it's not that expensive, and it's a pretty good tool. The last one that I want to talk about is this Tools Unite. It's got a few things that I think are useful, a few random things as well. Again, it's free, but you go into this and they constantly put different things in here. Again, this is one that's not, full blown, has a bunch of bells and whistles, but you have, like, for example, a random picker wheel, and then you can edit your wheel. And so if you have students in there and you're doing like a question of the day and you're trying to, see who's with you or who remembers the content from yesterday, you can put your students' names in there and then you spin it. And then whoever's name it ends up on, then that person has to, share with the group. So another way to randomly pick something and to keep kids on their toes, ready to go for the lesson that you're choosing. So that is, let's see, that is this site, which is Tools Unite. It's free. And they also have just random things in here, like they have timers, they have like word name combiners, so all kinds of kind of random things that sometimes you need in your classroom and sometimes you don't. So the last thing that I do, which I kind of alluded to at the beginning when I put the captions on, is I typically will throw a meme up or a blank meme and have the kids or the adults write a caption for the meme. And so I think it is a good kind of gauge. When I heard that teachers were having a hard time gauging the personalities of their kids online, when you throw something up like this, you're going to find out really quickly who are those kids, what are their personalities, and which ones have this creative thing that maybe you can take and run with, which ones are your shy ones. And so simple things that aren't really high tech, you can take and really draw those people in remotely. And you can also do this when you're in person as well. Obviously, you could throw this up on your smart board. So not everything has to be high tech. I think sometimes there are things that are low tech that work just as well. I also gave you a website resource to where it has all these random pictures of funny animal pictures. And I typically will take it from there and then paste it into whatever presentation that I'm doing. And it gives you some really good, fun things for the kids or the adults to try to break the ice and make them feel like they're a part of your lesson. So I know that I've been talking a lot. And does anybody have any questions? That's not like, a lot of mine are really resources and just thinking about things a little bit differently. If you have any questions, you know, if later you think about it and whatever, and you're like, well, how did you do that? Or what was this? You can always email me. I always answer my emails. And you know what? This is the thing, and Rebecca said some of these tools are new to me. Here's the thing it will never get old about, is that as tech people, you know that there are so many things out there that change so fast, and you're trying your hardest to keep up on everything. That's why I will oftentimes go to a lot of tech things, and even things that I probably know, because every single time I've sat in on one of Erin's or one of Wendy's or one of Lauren's, I have found something that I maybe knew about, but it was used a different way. So I just think you have to constantly be open to using things. It's how you take something and use it for what your reason is. And like I said, PowerPoints are nothing new. Games are nothing new, but if you think about them in a little different way, a picture, you can really make a difference in the audience and hopefully get them to, you know, lighten up. Because again, the hardest thing is to finding that balance between something that's personal and something that's digital. And I have a husband who is working virtually, has been working virtually, and he drives me insane because I go to he works for the state of Ohio, and they have these big, huge meetings, and the people are just there rambling on and on and on, and people aren't engaged at all, and it drives me insane. And I'm like, oh, please just use one of my pictures. Please use one of my PowerPoints. And so I really think that business world needs to catch up with the education world, because I don't know what person's getting anything out of those meetings. But, you know, have a little bit of humor and have a little bit of personality into it. I think they would get a lot more out of their meetings. So any questions? I don't even know what I'm doing on time. I don't even have a clock in here. Rebecca, any questions?
You're doing good on time, but could you repost the Google form for attendance?
I absolutely will. I will put that in right now if I can find it here. Let me go back to. Yes, it's in my first slide. I will put that in the chat box now. Rebecca says she has to leave. Rebecca, thank you for coming. There's the attendance form for you. And this will be recorded, and we'll put it in that Google Classroom. So if you know anybody, administrators or teachers, whatever, that need to watch the recorded version, they get an hour, contact hour free. And we will create that. And I will also, Rebecca, if you would paste in your, put in your email in there in the chat box, and I'll grab that and I'll send you the resource link. The QR code again wasn't working at the beginning, so I want to make sure that you get the resources. So if you can use them, that would, you know, feel free to share them with the other teachers as well.
I don't know if your Google Forms letting us in either.
It's not. Do you happen to have it with you? What is wrong with me today? I swear. Let me go back to this link. Maybe I can grab the wrong link. You do it this way. I'll go back. Let's see about this. Sorry. I think the demons, the tech demons have got me today. Try that one. Let's see if that works. It works. Okay, great. Sorry about that. I don't know what's going on. Anyways, thank you both for coming. Rebecca has to leave. Aaron, thank you so much. I don't know if you're doing one today or not. No. Okay. Well,
No,
have a
mine's the 22nd of April, but
Earth Day.
yeah. So, well, you did a good job. I think you're still recording though, but you did a good job.